Hi Erim, we're really grateful that you chose to be part of the campaign today. Before we start, we're just going to do some get to know you questions. So the first one is, how would your friends describe you?
Okay, so my friends would probably say I was quite brave, very lucky, I'm trying to manifest that energy into the world, and a little bit feisty sometimes.
What is your biggest dream?
I think for me, the reason why I started my Instagram was to inspire young girls who grew up without a mum, without sisters, without aunties, as I did, to feel less alone in this world.
And who is your number one female icon?
Princess Diana, I feel like she just exudes such a humanitarian aura about her, and she just knew what she was doing and she was decades ahead of her time.
Can you share your story with us?
So, my mum got breast cancer a few times, and then when I was 8 years old, she actually died from breast cancer. And then I was put into custody, very luckily with my dad, but I was living with just my dad and my brother, so a very, very male-dominated world, very male-dominated household. So growing up, I very luckily had my grandma, but I really struggled with knowing the nuances of womanhood. A lot of that, in my opinion, was somewhat gate-kept from me because no one knew to tell you about things other than how to wash your hair, what to do when you get a period, where to buy your bras from. It was smaller things like how to behave at a party, how to get a waiter's attention that I really only had the male version of. So I'm just trying to change that.
Why did you feel like it was important for you specifically to be part of this campaign and to share your story with others?
You know, nowadays with the technology and the research that we have, there's so many happy endings to the story of cancer, and that's something that I personally didn't see, but I really want to spread the narrative that we can actually stand up to cancer.
You were so young when you lost her, and I'm so sorry for your loss. How has that kind of shaped who you are today and also your goals today?
So my mum was a very, very confident, independent individual, and I think despite having lost her at such a young age, I didn't really know who she was as a person, I just knew who she was as a mum. I think that her memory and her legacy lives on within me, and in everything I try and do, I try and emulate her to the best of my ability. So one thing that she had was really long hair, so that's why I have long hair now.
You've already done so much sort of for your community, you've got a big platform on social. What else is there for you to do? What do you want to do next?
So one thing I'm working on right now is writing a children's book aimed at those dealing with grief from the South Asian perspective, something I felt like was lacking in the industry, and I really want to change that and just help one young person not feel alone in their grief.
What do you think some of the common misconceptions are about grief and about cancer?
Mm-hmm. One of the things I would love to personally challenge about the way that the system, the man, sees grief in amongst the education system is that it really, really needs to be a hand-holding approach, not just to the child, but to the overall family, because a loss is experienced by not just those closest to the person, but it echoes and echoes and echoes to the people in their wider community. So I would love more education surrounding that, and I'd love to be someone who's helping with that as well.
Can you tell me a little bit about your dad?
So my dad is my best friend. There's 12 types of soulmates, and 100% my dad is one of my soulmates in this world. I'm so blessed. There's one thing that I think we really need to challenge is fathers in the justice system and giving them equal rights to mothers, because my dad is such a good dad. He's the example of someone who fought for custody for his children till he got it. And there was moments where like things were really, really tough and he persevered. And to this day, I now look at him like my best friend. He's one of my soulmates, not in a weird way, he's just one of my soulmates. And we're in business together as well, and it's just such a perfectly symbiotic, synergistic relationship, and I'm so blessed to have that.
Why do you think campaigns like Stand Up to Cancer are so important?
I really believe that I didn't understand what death was, what grief was. I didn't understand the finality of it, and I think any education that we can give to young people surrounding this is only going to help them go through the grief process with so much more ease.
And obviously with all of the research, like hopefully that will affect fewer and fewer people as well. Who are you standing up for today?
Any young person that doesn't understand what's going on, that thinks their mum is going to get better, that thinks that she's not going to get better, just any type of information that we can get out there that there is potentially hope as well. Even if my story wasn't as much of a happy ending, I'm still standing and I'm still here, and I wouldn't change anything.